What's going on, guys? I think we're live. If someone can just bob me a quick message in the chat box. People still streaming. I just want to make sure that you can hear me okay and it's good to go. The people are still coming in. Like I said, same platform every single Sunday, 8 o'clock. All I really do here is just share some information, share some training tips, things that are working for me and what I've worked in the past. And if anything, the key is take good notes. Go and apply them all week, and that's pretty much why I've got this platform set up on a Sunday evening. Feedback to you, what's working for us as a group, and what the people who are succeeding are doing, and hopefully you take that information and go and apply it. So the goal tonight, and what I'm going to be discussing tonight, is prospecting, and step 2 specifically, which is the list. For me, getting started, that is the #1 priority. You need a list of contacts. You need people. Your biggest asset in network marketing in this industry is people. So if you haven't got that contact list down on paper and done it exactly as the 4 steps say, and I say it every week and you probably get fed up of hearing it, but the system and the steps are there for a specific reason. And the 50 and the 50, so 50 coffee drinkers and 50 business builders, are so vital, because if you've got a realistic aspiration and goal to succeed in this business, you're going to realize that the only asset we have is people. People, #1, will buy the product, and #2, they'll move the product, become distributors. And once I got my head around that I've got to prospect people every single day. And people are different. You're going to have people who do it much quicker and people who do much slower. But my goal tonight is to have down on paper what you want out of it, okay, and move through that. I'm not going to talk about goals tonight. We've discussed those goals. I'm not going to discuss the 4 steps. What I am going to discuss is step 2, and kind of go a little bit in depth with that, just to really work through it, because this industry succeeds when distributors share the plan, okay? They share the story, and then they teach other people to do the same. And that is step 2 to me, okay? You need people to start with, okay? And you're going to find people in that list who want this, okay? And I think what most people do is they either make a mental list in the head of up to 10 people. Once 1 or 2 of those say no, they'll lose a little bit of traction. The system's set up. Make sure you've got that list of 50 and 50 down, because to succeed in this business, we must deal with people, okay? Make sure you've gone through the Cash Cow CD. Okay, make sure you've worked through OG Dave Cafe, but surround yourself with the people who are winning in this business. Okay, and just that's one thing that I really realize, is that within this business, you can speak to anyone about what they're doing. You can speak to the people who are making the big income. You can speak to anyone who's making it happen. But you need to make sure that you've got to start with, you've sat down with the person who's helping you out and look through your contact list. Don't just say someone create a list of 50. Sit down with them and let's figure out who you know. Who do you want to share this with? Okay, and that's one thing that I want to share tonight, is don't ram it down people's throats, the information. You want to keep posture and know that this is something that's powerful. And with your contact list, you want to be sharing it with them. Same with the coffee, just share it with the people who are on your 50, okay? So I've got here, have a basic understanding of the compensation plan. These are just all little getting started tips, okay? Make sure you understand dual team, okay? Make sure you understand that. But tonight, like I said, I want to make some commitments, because success doesn't come through just buying the bronze pack, okay? The 190 investment we've got started, the kit lacks the most important element to all this, which you're going to see is the theme of tonight's call, which is people. And to attract these people, you need to create an environment for success. Before you enroll and sponsor anyone into the business, you need to make sure that first and foremost you're sponsored, okay? And I see it time and time again, where people will get started and they lose the negativity starts coming in and all that starts coming in, because most people aren't used to building a business. And I was the exact same. I must have been a nightmare of a distributor when I first got started, because I blamed everyone else apart from me. Okay, and I'd not even written a contact list. So like I said tonight, we want to make some commitments and work through with that. And for me, that was the big one for me. I'd write that down before you enroll anyone, sponsor anyone to the business. Make sure you're fully into this, and you'll start attracting people once you start doing that, I promise you. And make sure you've got the correct tools when we get in started. So we're prospecting, you're going to hear it again and again that you need some tools. And the tools that I recommend, number one is the flip chart. I've got it here. The flip chart's for me the greatest tool I've got. Very low tech. You don't need to have a MacBook, or just the flip chart's a valuable tool now available on the back office. So make sure that you've got these on hand. Make sure these are available for new starters as well. So people who have taken the time out tonight, we've only got 20 people on the call tonight, but these are the people who want to learn. Okay, they want to earn, they want to learn. And you want to make sure that you've got enough of those flip charts on hand for when people get started. They get started effectively. Another tool that I've been using still is the Coffee That Pays DVD. The Coffee That Pays DVD is Holton Buggs sharing the information. Holton Buggs, the #1 income earner in all the industry in Organo Gold, and he shares the information for you. So just make most of these tools. And I'm going to even tonight give you my exact script for inviting people to either a CGM or an online presentation, and just show how I've been able to build my momentum and my group through the correct invitation. So we've got that. Make sure you've got the correct tools, flip charts, online tools. Okay, my YouTube page on there, you're going to have all, make sure you subscribe to that, because on there you're going to have access to all the online presentations to send out to people. Okay, that's all I do. Okay, I let tools do a lot of the heavy hitting for me. You're going to see this. I don't make myself the issue. Okay, I don't necessarily, I know I present on the webinars and stuff like that, but I'll still let, to my personal prospects, Holton Buggs share the information, or let a tool of me and Ben, for example, or Steve Martin, for example. There's one coming up Monday. Steve will be hosting at 8 o'clock. You want to invite people and leverage that credibility story there. I'm going to go into that a little bit later on. So most people on this line now are going to be part-time with this. There's only very few people in the group who are full-time networkers. So time is your most valuable asset, okay? And you don't want to waste it. I see it so much, and it's 100% crucial and key. You schedule your time, okay? And I'm just being honest that most people schedule what they're going to watch on TV, where they're going to go out on a weekend, better than the schedule of this business. And that's what you've got to start understanding. This is a business. And purchase a monthly Achiever calendar. Use the monthly Achiever calendars to plot your success. And begin planning your months in advance. Plan how much time you're going to commit to this business. And then devote that to money-making activities. And money-making activities are not Facebook posts. The money-making activities are going to be your meetings, your CGMs, your invitations to webinars. These are the things that make money. So for me, with any new start, my main goal is to make you money. Money-making activities. Don't get lost in flyers, posts, Facebook groups, designing this and that. The money is in physical interaction and meetings. You can definitely use online to attract people, but you're not going to make your money, and you're not going to retain people online 100% of the time like that. So make sure you're devoting whatever schedule, whatever commitment you're going to give, whether that's 1 hour, 5 hours, 15 hours a week. Commit that to making money activities. And for me, what you've got to do there is you've got to plan your work and work your plan. And that's one trait that I necessarily didn't have when I got into this. I was a big studier, but I was never really good at planning. What I do now is the day before, okay, I've got my month planned in advance, so I can see what's going on. But what I've got before I go to bed is I plan my day. I plan my day on paper, what I want to achieve from the next day, how many people I'm going to speak to, how many people I'm going to invite. Because it's like anything, it's to be an entrepreneur, you've got to plan stuff. And I know I would never like that. That was a massive trait that I didn't have. What I will do, if there's any questions, I'll answer them after, just so we know what's going on and just keep it flowing. But like I said, pick how much time you're going to devote to what you're doing and stick to that. Be consistent with that. I've got here, you either create your own environment and control your time, or some people right now for someone else, and they're creating that time for you, okay? You'll go to work for 8 hours. Okay, go to work 8 hours a week on this business, and trust me, you'll see magic things happen, because it doesn't take a whole lot of time. The key with this to start with is the magic of part-time. And the magic of part-time, but you need to make sure in those 8 hours or 10 hours that you're committing to the business in the week, that you're exposing people all the time, and that is where the money will be. Okay, exposing people is where the money is. The fortune's in the follow-up, and then you just work with the willing. I receive so many calls and so many texts from people who are chasing someone who just doesn't want it. The 65 million people, or maybe more now in the UK, the numbers are in his favor with this. Okay, we're open for 40 countries. The numbers are in his favor. So step 2 is creating the list. And the key to getting started is that list, and it's worth its weight in gold. And write this down. Do not prejudge anyone. Okay, do not prejudge anyone. I've had people who I've not spoke to yet on my list who have joined the business with someone else in my organization. Don't get me wrong, but don't be that guy who or girl who hasn't contacted the person on that list and missed out, because it can be an absolute killer. So like I've said, do not prejudge anyone. This is the biggest mistake that I find that new starters to this business make. When they're thinking of people in their head, their screening won't be good. Makes too much money anyway. Too busy, not enough time. Don't speak to him. Write everyone down on your list, okay? And get busy filling that list out. And we'll show you how to add to that list later, okay? We want to start with a minimum of 50 and 50, and we're going to show you how to add that list later. But if you want to succeed, okay, you must act the part even before that comes around, okay? I'm not saying act and pretend to be someone who you're not in terms of that, but act confident. Use the traits of someone successful and apply that to what you're doing now. Treat this as a business, okay? I've got here, when I was 22, starting out in the industry, I was petrified of public speaking, okay? I was an introvert as a kid. I had a very small group of friends, and that was just me, okay? I wasn't the big social guy in terms of, I wouldn't put my, I remember at school, you know, when you used to present, I used to shy away. I did not like public speaking. It's always been an issue for me. But I didn't want fear to control what I wanted to get out of this business. Okay, so most people I found in this business just don't start it for whatever reason that is. Whether it's you're scared of public speaking, you're shy, you lack confidence, whatever that might be. You might be hung up on your current situation, okay? You might have not a strong social circle of people who you can speak to right now, but you can definitely work on that. And how I see this, and why I like the 18-month commitment part of the steps of the system, is you can build a network in that 18 months. There's a world out there where you can go and speak to anyone. I've been at a family do today for an 18th, and reconnecting with family members and speaking to people. And guess what? People want to know what you're doing, and just discuss it. Don't ram it down the throats, but I'm having conversations, letting people know what I'm doing. I'm sharing samples of coffee. I'm doing the simple things to get attention on my business. So what we want to look at right now is how to explode your one market. So what you're going to see from when you get started is there's 3 types of people. There's warm market, which is people who you know now, okay? There's cold market, which are people you don't know yet. And there's hot market. Hot market are people who your warm market introduce you to who you don't know right now, okay? There's where a lot of your freeway calls will come in, which you definitely want to start utilizing if you're not doing it already. I'm not going to go into the freeway call today, but a valuable tool, okay? And people are really missing a trick on the usefulness of that freeway call. So I'm going to be discussing tonight warm market. So everybody's got a warm market. Some people call it warm market. Some people call it power base. But you need to get into that warm market very quickly. And I've got here Taproot, so find out who they know and get referrals. Okay, the 50 and the 50 coffee drinkers, they're going to give you masses of referrals if you do it right. We know the coffee tastes great. We know people get a great health benefit from it. So once you've got that 50 coffee drinkers drinking your coffee, you've got your 10 serviceable customers or more, then they're going to start giving you referrals. And it's not always just a case of sign-ups when you're reconnecting, okay? So don't just, I think most people go out and start hunting people. Okay, I remember Eric Worre told me that when I used to listen to his stuff, that people go out and hunt people for this. And that to me, that's not the way to do it. And step 2, and as contactless, is our main asset right now. And we all have a warm market. I don't care what anyone says. You typically sit down with new stars and say, listen, I don't have a strong list, or I don't know many people Listen, we definitely, anyone, I truly believe anyone can put a list of 50 and 50 together, because we've all got relationship equity. We've all got people who we know, like, and trust. And person to person is the best form of marketing. So definitely utilize that one market, okay? Before you start doing any Facebook stuff, before you start doing any cold marketing, anything like that, going into restaurants, which is great. I hear it all the time, so I'm only feeding back what I hear. I'm going to gyms, restaurants, coffee shops. We've already got a power base, and people really miss that. We've already got people who know, like, and trust us. So reactivate that power base, okay? People in your warm market want to see you win. They want to see you succeed. And most people truly believe they have nothing to start with. And everyone has an existing power base: friends, family, school friends, relatives, past employees, current employees. And our goal is to optimize people's power bases. This powerless is the single most lucrative way to generate business straight away. It's there, it's willing to be mined and tapped, and everyone's got that. That's why multi-level marketing businesses are so successful, because they've been able to get into people's power bases, and that's where the money is. And you want to reactivate every single contact that you have. Start getting back in touch with old friends. Don't always make the first contact about joining up or signing up or selling this and selling that. You want to invite everyone to see what you're doing, but do it in a way where it's not attacking them. Okay, take a genuine interest in people. I think Ben put today a great post in the group saying, be interested, not interesting. And that's key for me. I used to go for the throat all the time, and I've lost a lot of contacts through doing that approach. And you'll see it. You don't want to end up doing that. You don't want to burn the bridges with being super excited and going out there and applying it all wrong. So my goal tonight is to, number one, make sure you've got a strong list on paper, but how to then go about prospecting them. So we're going to move on to that right now. So connecting and contacting and inviting is what we're going to discuss now. So the purpose of the call sometimes is to simply invite, okay? And trust me on this one, people are going to turn you down, okay? People are going to turn you down, but there's people also out there who are looking for what we've got. And it's just a matter of time before you sponsor those type of people, okay? And believe me, screening through your list as quick as you can will be worth it. And don't get cold feet over a few rejections, okay? Don't build your list of 50 in the first 5 or 6 calls. People might say no. Someone might not answer, whatever that is. But the hardest victory I found in this industry is the victory over self. And you'll get the momentum. Don't get cold feet from putting off. So what I want to work on now is a simple invitation to a CGM, and this is big for me. Okay, the first invite that I always make before I put anything on, this is what I teach all my new starters. Before you put anything on Facebook, before you do any text blasts, email blasts, Facebook statuses, any other blasts that you can do, is I want you to contact friends using the telephone. Using your telephone to contact your friends. And an example that I use, okay, and I've got right here, is if I've booked my new starter and we're going to book us 4 CGMs as the system says, and I'm going to go along these sort of lines, and I will make this available tonight, so don't think you've got to write this down, excuse me, word for word, but let's just say I'm giving Ben a call. Hi Ben, how's things? Listen, the reason I called you is I've just launched a new business, okay? It's a healthier gourmet coffee, tea and hot chocolate, and I'm having a grand opening at my house Thursday at 7 o'clock. I'm inviting some of my friends and family to come over and try the products and get some free samples and learn a little bit about the business. Benke Kay, my business partner, will be there to briefly discuss the business. He has been very successful, managed to earn 6 figures in the industry, so it would be great to have 30 minutes of his time. Can I count on you to support me by being there? Something very simple like that, okay? I've mentioned that there's a slight business element to it, but I've also mentioned that I want them to come down, support a local business, and try some free samples. So use that one, okay? Use something similar to that once you're booking your warm people, okay? People you know, like, and trust to come to the event, okay? So that would be an example of a physical event. If I was inviting to a physical event, and the keys for me there is you're not saying I've just joined. You're saying that you've launched a new business. You're letting them know it's centered around something that they probably like and enjoy, coffee and tea, free samples, and you're edifying there, okay? your sponsor, whoever you're inviting to, whoever's coming to that event, and can I count on you to support me by being there? Simple and effective. That simple and very effective. And another example would be, this is big. If I'm right, our system now, we have maybe 3 or 4 online webinars every single week, and we also have the recordings of these available. So all my new starters, for some people who I might be contacting on their list who's not in the area, let's just say you're doing a CGM when I'm now in Pontefract, and I've got people on my contact list from maybe down south or up Scotland or Wales, wherever. Okay, I'm not going to invite them to a CGM. They're not going to come. So what I'm going to leverage there is the online platform. Okay, and what I'm going to do there is, in another example, let's just say I'm talking to Ben again. Hi Ben, how you doing? Hey, I want to know if you can do me a favor and help me out. I've just launched a new business and I'm really excited about it, and I'm looking for a couple of key people with leadership and management abilities, and I naturally thought of you. I have no idea if you'd personally be interested, but I know you know the right kind of people that I'm looking for. What I need you to do is watch a short video online and tell me who you know I should contact. What number or email address shall I send the link to? So the key points there for me, again, you've launched a new business, okay, you've not joined anything, and you've put there, you've edified the person you're speaking to. You say, I'm looking for a few key people with leadership and management abilities, and I naturally thought of you. Okay, this puts someone in a better mood. Trust me when you say that. And you've also let them know that it might not be for them. Okay, but they want to review a video. You can even change that a little bit there. So don't say it word for word. Massage it into your friends. Speak the language of your friends. But you could insert there, you've got a live webinar tonight, 8 o'clock, whatever it might be, to get them on that and to review the information. And what I've got here is that one point from that is always agree with any objection. Okay, whatever that might crop up, just agree with it and still get the video link to them, okay, and then follow up. And that is it, okay? And I just want to make sure that when you follow up, you need to understand that the fortune is in that. Don't just send the link out and let people review it and never follow up. I say it all the time, I'm a sapphire now in this business, and we get leads sent to us now. We get leads by the company sent to us. And the amount of people who I've spoken to now who have been sampled the coffee or sent something and never been followed up. Okay, we're getting 2 or 3 leads a week now with people in that same situation who have been given the information but never been followed up. And the follow-up's always really simple. I always say, if I've sampled the coffee, obviously we ask the questions. How did it taste? How did it make you feel? But the big 3 menus for me that I use, the menu system, 1, 2, and 3, is, are you interested in number 1, the product, number 2, the business, or number 3, both? And you work through it then, okay? That's when you can start using your 3-way calls or start moving them along the process. But get referrals, and you've put it there in the context. You're asking people to put you in touch with people who this would suit. Don't be afraid to ask that, okay? Work on the rapport, work on relationships, and people are going to send you to the right people. That's why I never see this sample as me as an expense. This is a tool for me to get into people's networks. I sample you a free cup of coffee. I'm going to follow up like a businessman when I said, and I'm going to ask you interested in the product, the business, or both. And if it's none, I'm going to ask for a referral. Have you got 5 friends who I can send some free sample stuff? I always do that. Have you got 5 free friends? Sorry, have you got 5 friends who I can send some free sample stuff? And they're going to give me that. And I've just worked in people's power bases like that and been able to, I call it tap rooting. So make sure we're sampling everyone the product, and make sure we're using these very simple and effective invites. And I've got here the key for these invites is number 1, practice them. Is most people come into this business and they do not practice. They'll make their first call on their best prospect. And it's like, if you were learning to drive, you won't just go straight out. You'd go and practice somewhere. Get the practice in, okay? And that's big for me. Practice in the mirror, practice wherever, with your sponsor, with your partner, whoever it is. I share a funny story. Ben does it to his dogs. You know what I mean? Ben will practice that. I've got here, smile before you dial. Get yourself in a positive mood before you start making calls. And another tip is don't just make one call, make the 50. Okay, make the 50 right now. Do it right now. Don't put anything off in business. Okay, that's the biggest killer. Procrastination is the biggest killer in this business. Don't pressure people. There's no pressure. We're positive. We're excited about what we're doing. We're showing value for what we've got. Okay, we're not begging people to come. I see it too much. I see people begging and this and that. And that's what gives the industry a bad name. Don't get people there under false pretenses. We're just looking to arouse curiosity, and that's what they're my follow-ups. Okay, they're the follow-ups that have always worked for me. And then I move them along. Three-way calls. And remember, you build your list of 100 people. That, in my eyes, equals 300 people because they will give you referrals. Remember, sample everyone the product and let them sample that to their friends. And I've got here, like I said, the fortune is in the follow-up. So before we go into a bit of a recording of the mentorship call from last week, if you want to really max out the income opportunities in your business, you need to make sure that you keep following up. I was speaking to Ben the other day that I've been following up people for 6 months because I'm treating it like a business. Not everyone's going to be open to the business today. You might make some calls tomorrow and they might not be interested right now, but you've got to keep following up, okay? And I've got here, follow up enough on those people that there's no immediate sales, or maybe even, okay, it might not be successful the first time. Keep working that, okay? Keep working that network, keep working it strong, and you will get people interested in what you're doing. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to quickly bob my camera off. I'm going to play the 7 core principles of building this business. This was put together by Holton Buggs. I'm probably going to play around 30 minutes of this. This is quality stuff. This is some of the best stuff that I've heard from Holton Buggs. So take plenty of notes. And the key for me now, guys, is let's make sure we go out and really apply this thing. Let's not just listen to it, take notes, get motivated, and do nothing with it. The key right now is the application for me. And what I've got here before we finish is if you're struggling, okay, if you're on the call and you're struggling and it might not be going your way right now, then what you need to do is ask yourself the question: how many new people have you spoke to this week? How many new people have you built relationships with? How many new people have you sampled them? What I'm typically finding is that the people that are venting or moaning are the ones that are not inviting people to do things, okay? The people who are stopping and starting, stopping and starting all the time, because you've got to go out there and really build this thing, because it's so easy to simply moan and jibe about things like this. But the people who are building it, okay, they've got enough going on. Me and Ben speak about making sure your pipeline's full, because if your pipeline's full, then you're not going to be let down when one person says no. Okay, the people who are just maybe have 2 or 3 people on that list, when they start saying no, it's a little bit unnerving. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the mentorship call. Let me just find this. Take plenty of notes on this, guys. Absolutely gold.
The magic that brings about the change is what you do as a result of it, but it's not changing what works. When you find something that you know for a fact that works, you keep doing it, and 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 you keep doing it. Successful people get good at things that are boring. Put that one down for you, because that's something to serve you in your entire life. It's not just an organo gold piece of wisdom here. Okay? What I want to talk about tonight, the training that I'm going to give tonight, is going to be a little different, but you'll be able to tie that in with it as well. I want to talk to you tonight about the 7 core principles of success. If you ever want to be successful in organo gold, I'm going to talk to you about 7 core principles. If there's a common things that I have found that people succeed in, what are those things that I find that are common about the people who are succeeding in the business? Okay, you know, most recently, what we've done is we've put out the OG 300. The OG 300. And OG 300 is basically that list of people who will actually be the top 300 producers in Organo Gold that will actually earn a cruise if you're one of the top 300. And basically, it's all designed based on production in terms of personal sponsoring and what you do down in your organization, through the organization of people that you're working with as well on your second level, okay? And so hopefully I have a little chance to talk about that, the purpose of it, and how you should look at it. I can tell you right now, every single person who's on this call right now should have a goal to make sure that your name is on that list for the top 300. Now, obviously, everybody can't make it, but it levels out the playing field. And I can tell you, it's not about the cruise. I personally can't stand cruises. I personally did not drink coffee, but I didn't make the coffee the big issue for me. What I understood was that it was the best product designed for my goals. And so I quickly got over that I didn't like coffee. It had nothing to do with me. So often we take things so personal and we think they're all about us, and it's not. I couldn't stand coffee. I'd never drank coffee before, and the friends that I had nobody had ever invited me over for coffee. I didn't hang out with people who were really coffee drinkers as much. But I understood that the business and the purpose that the coffee would serve was going to allow me to get to my goals much faster and sooner than any other product out there in the world. So regardless of whether you can attend the cruise or whether or not you'll be on the cruise, or whether or not you like cruises, has nothing to do with it. You're in Organo Gold because you want to succeed. And what we did is we put together a promotion that will give you key indicators of whether or not you're going to be succeeding. I can tell you this, you will not find a person who's going diamond and their name is not on the list, because we know what production is all about. Production, it shows up. And so if you're saying, I want to go diamond, I want to be a diamond, I want to be a ruby or emerald, or I want to be whatever it is, if that's what your goal is, then being on the list and having other people in your organization on the list will be whether or not you're actually headed in the right direction. And so that's one of the things that you want to look for. Now, it doesn't mean that if I'm not on the list that I'm not a winner. No, it just means that I'm not a part of the top 300 at this time. At this time, okay? And so the goal, as we put that out there, the goal should be for every single one of you here, keep this real simple. Keep the business very simple, and make sure that you put a strategy in place for who are you going to have on the cruise with you. Not only am I going, that's what you should be saying, but who else am I going to have on the cruise? What game plan have we set to make sure that we're doing it? It's real simple. You get points on the top, on the OG 300 for several things. Number one, you're going to get points for personal enrollments. Personal enrollments of builder packs, okay? Bronze, silver, and gold packs, personal enrollment. So every time you personally enroll someone, there's going to be points that you're going to accumulate. But you also get packs when you help those people who are on your first level, when you help them sponsor other people and they purchase packs, they get the builder packs, you're gonna earn points for that as well. It's a 50% ratio. So points that accumulate on your second level will be 50% of the points that accumulate on your first level. You'll also receive points for being a star achiever. Okay? Being a star achiever, creating personal volume. Everybody on this call should have 10 customers. That should be your goal. And you should be servicing those 10 customers if you're doing it, along with what you're sampling and your personal use. Okay? What you got is you got minimum of $450 in personal volume on a monthly basis. It makes you a star achiever, and you get 2 points for that. For being a superstar, having 4 personally enrolled star achievers gives you an additional 2 points, so you get a total of 4 points when you become a superstar achiever. Okay? A superstar achiever. So you get points for that. You're going to get points for upgrades as well. So for those of you who are at the end of the month, if you're working the month the right way, if you're working the zones, the white zone, the blue zone, and the red zone, I won't explain all of that right now, but I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, from the 20th through the 30th, you should be racking up points like crazy. You should be racking up points like crazy. You should do more volume and create more points in the red zone than any other zone that you have for the month. okay? Any other zone that you have for the month. I can tell you right now, there's some people out there who are making things happen like crazy right now, on their way headed to breaking some major pins. Michael and Marlene Stotts, I know they hosted a huge Super Saturday over there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I think Mr. Ed Hartley, I believe, was there, and there were some other diamonds there as well, some other emeralds as well. I don't even know all the names of the people who were there, but I can tell you right now, you're talking about some people who are on a mission. A Super Saturday just took place in Atlanta, Georgia this past weekend. I know David Imonitie was there in Atlanta just yesterday, and got Atlanta on fire right now. I know that right here in Houston, Texas, you had Jose Ardone that did a training just yesterday. It was a packed out Saturday training that he did. That was just on fire. Had a chance to spend probably about 6 hours with him today. And you're talking about somebody who's on a mission. I've been watching the travel schedule from California to this place to that place, to Florida to Dallas to Houston, lighting it up like crazy. And it's people right now are just on a mission. They're on a mission. I was talking to David Imonitie, and he's on a personal mission to get things done, along with many other people all around the world. I know Suleiman Rahman was there in Denver, Colorado a couple of weeks ago, making things happen. And I can tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's growth time. It is growth time. So make sure that in all of your goals that you're having, make sure that you have a goal of participating and winning the cruise. I can tell you, it's not for the purpose of the cruise. It's an indicator that my business is moving in the right direction. So let's talk about these 7 common denominators between all the successful people that build Organo Gold. I want to go ahead and cover that right now. That's my training for tonight. And these 7 core principles, okay? The 7 core principles of success. Principle number 1, and they don't go in any particular order because each one of them are very important. So if you leave one out, you know what? It's just as important as leaving the other one out. People ask me, or I ask this question all the time, what's the most important part of a car? And people will give me all different types of things. They say the key, the ignition, the gas tank, the steering wheel, the pedal, the wheels, whatever it is. And people, you know what? They're all right and they're all wrong. The most important part of a car is the part that is missing. Okay? If you've got a piece that's missing, that's what's most important at that moment. Okay? And so the same thing with these 7 core principles of success is that which one are you leaving out, or which ones are you leaving out? Number 1, accountability. Accountability. What do I mean by accountability? When the OG 300, when the cruise announcement came out, and you told your sponsor, hey, I am going to be on that cruise. I am going to have 5 people with me. I'm going to have 3 or 10 or 20. And many of you said what you're going to do. See, accountability is making sure that what you said you were going to do, that your upline can take it to the bank and get it done. Accountability. Accountability. See, when it comes to event time and you say, oh, I'm going to have 100 people at the event, and you show up with 10, you're not accountable. That's not accountable. Okay? What you want to make sure is that your word is as good as cash. That your word, okay, means everything. Because at the end of the day, all you got is your word. Okay? When it comes to attending an event, and your upline is wondering whether or not you're going to show up, that's not accountability. Okay? See, what you want to do is you want to be the type of person you want to be what I call that guaranteed person, that always person. Okay? See, if I ask Sam Bean, are you going to be here? And he says yes, I don't have to question it. I don't have to wonder whatsoever. Same thing with his sponsor, Edwin Haynes. It's a done deal. It's guaranteed. I never have to think about it. That's why they're diamonds. Okay? That's why. Right? Accountability. Accountability is several other measures as well. Okay? When you're dealing with financial matters with your upline, when you write a check, okay? When you write a check to the company, if you write a check to your upline for tools or for product or for whatever it is, or for tickets, okay, can they go cash that check? Or are you the type that says, oh, well, listen, I need you to hold it for, 29 years. That's not accountable, okay? That's not accountable. Financially, you need to be accountable to your upline. You need to be accountable to the people on your team. When the people on your team are expecting you to host a conference call or to present on a conference call, are you the one who doesn't show up? Okay? Or can they count on it? Are they sitting there wondering, okay, I wonder if he's going to show up today. He didn't show up for the last 4, but I wonder if he's going to make this call. That's not accountability. I'm telling you, this may not seem to you to be one of the skill sets that are required, but I'm telling you right now, it's a very important skill set. I wouldn't be training or covering it if it wasn't. It is highly important to develop a skill set of accountability. Accountability means everything. It means that your word is solid as a rock. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is that many people don't go far in life because of their unaccountability. Okay? Their lack of being accountable, their lack of being able to be depended upon. Okay? And so before you start writing these checks, and what I mean by that are promises, before you start doing that, think about your accountability. Think about it. Okay? Think about, can I hold this true? Can I make this be real? Can I make sure that I resolve that I can get this done? Is this within my control, or is this outside of my area of control? Okay? That's what you've got to understand. You've got to become accountable. We've got your 30-day playbook. Have you filled that out? Have you sent it to your sponsor? One of the things of accountability in the 4 steps, the first step is to get a product testimonial, and within 24 to 48 hours, make sure that you get with your upline and let them know what your benefits or your experiences were with the product. See, if you didn't do that, you're not accountable from the 4 steps perspective. Okay? See, it's the small things that make the biggest difference. But how you do anything is how you do everything. How you do anything is how you do everything. And so you want to start paying attention to your actions. Does your actions and your checks that you write with your words, do they line up? Just imagine if everybody was able to count on everybody in their group. If you were able to count on everything somebody tells you to do, boy, life would be so much easier. Well, stop waiting for people to keep their word. Why don't you start keeping yours? You be the first example of keeping their word. Start keeping your word. Start making sure that the checks that you write, that they can cash. Not only the written checks, paper checks, but the verbal checks that you're writing, make sure that those can cash as well. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, when you start to understand the importance of accountability, the world around you starts to change. Accountability is one of those 7 core principles, okay, of successful people. Accountability. How many people are you going to have on the conference call? Well, I'm going to have 50 on the conference call, and you've got 3. No, it's not good enough. Okay? That's not good enough. Now, we know that you can't control everyone, but you've got to make sure that you say things that are within your range of ability. Okay? Now, if you say I'm going to have 50 on the call and you've got 45, well, you're close. You're not fully accountable, but you're close. And so what you want to make sure that you do is under-promise but over-deliver. If you under-promise and over-deliver, okay, then the accountability factor starts to go more in your favor. Watch what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you just start to keep your word. It's amazing the number of people that have the inability to keep their word. It's very, very important. You become a rare person when you do what you say that you're going to do. That's all we're talking about. Doing what you say you're going to do. What I have found is that the majority of the people that I've found, they lose by default. I never forget when Erlene and I were moved in this neighborhood and where we live here in Houston. When we moved here 10 years ago, and we needed so many different things done for our house. We were looking for landscapers. We were looking for painters. We were doing some modifications. Even when we bought the house, we wanted to change the interior. I realized how successful I could become as a contractor immediately. And the reason I knew that I could become extremely successful, I knew nothing about landscaping. I knew nothing about building a house. I knew nothing about painting. I knew nothing about many of these aspects of building a house, but I knew for a fact that I could be accountable. Why? Because everyone that we talked to who's told me, oh, I'll show up on Tuesday, guess what? They show up on Thursday. Well, I'll be there and I'm going to finish the job by this time, and they never finish the job at that time. And I start to notice that there was almost nobody that we were dealing with who would actually keep their word. And I said, man, I can start a company if I wanted to, and I will win. I would dominate the industry. I don't have to know anything because I'll be the only one to keep my word. When I tell them I'm coming to give them an estimate on Tuesday, I'll be there on Tuesday. I'm not going to show up on Thursday because I took some other job. And it was so simple because I watch people win in life. I watch people lose in life. And the people that I watch lose in life, most of them lose not because they don't have the talent. They lose by default just because they don't show up for their own victory. They don't show up for their own victory. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand I'm spending a lot of time on this one because this one is extremely important. It's extremely important. Make sure that your actions, your walk, your talk, it all lines up together. You will be amazed at what opportunities will come your way. You will be absolutely amazed that when you are a person who can keep your word and you're going to do exactly what you say you're going to do, you become an extremely rare commodity. You become one of the top 3%, 97% of the people can't keep their word. It's not because they don't intend to. It's just that they've never trained themselves on how important it is. You become a 3%er just by following discipline number 1. Let's go ahead and move on because I only have another 15 minutes on this call. I think I took about 12 minutes to cover that one. Discipline number 2. Okay, core principle number 2. Let's talk about it. And that is developing a self-improvement program. Okay? Number 2 will be reading. Reading books. What I find is this here, one of the core principles, 7 core principles of people who are successful is that leaders are readers. I can tell you right now that if you can't think of a book that you picked up and read and that you actually executed what you've learned, and you can't do that something over the last 30 days, then you're not growing. You're not growing. Okay? Leaders are readers. I tell you this, don't read so that you can actually regurgitate things to people about what you learn. No, you read so that you can improve, so that you can acquire knowledge that you didn't have before. Take that knowledge, put it into action so that you can become a better person. You know, I was in Europe, and I was really hitting hard on this in Europe in terms of personal development because personal growth, people think reading a book alone or listening to a tape is personal development. That's not personal development. That's just called reading. That's just called listening. But reading something, taking just short snippets, taking the suggestions that you've gotten, put them into action immediately or as soon as you can after you've learned them so that you can see the difference in who you are afterward, that's called personal development. But don't try to impress me by telling me I read this book and I read that book and I know this author and I know that. Hogwash. It doesn't matter. Doesn't mean anything. Give me one book that you've read, but follow all the instructions. I'm more impressed with you reading one book and following every suggested instruction in that book, putting it into action. I'm more impressed in that than you showing me your library of things that you read that you didn't do. Okay? Remember, our job is to get a result. What we're teaching on this call is the principles, okay? The core principles that will actually govern results. Not look good, it won't make you look great. It's just going to give you results. And if you know what? If you got great results, I think you'll look much better. Number 3, listening. Listening to audio tapes. Have a listening library. How does your reading library look? Number 2, and how does your listening library look? I can tell a student who's going to be a millionaire. I can tell you this, I have very seldom walked into a person's home or been around a person who is really on their way to becoming a millionaire that doesn't have the adequate library of personal development so that they can learn from other people, so that they can read and get knowledge that they didn't have before, so they can listen to tapes and change the course of their mind as they put those things into action. You've got to have a listening library. You've got to have a reading library. Those are fundamental things. If you, the person that you are today, could be a multimillionaire without reading, you'd already be there. It's called luck. It's called lottery. You don't need to read to win the lottery. You just got to get lucky. You've got to have the timing at the right time. And you know what? If you've ever seen someone in network marketing who was extremely successful, making a lot of money, I'll say, not extremely successful, but making a lot of money, and they're not talking about a book they read or a tape they're listening to, look at them 3 years from now, see if they're still making the same amount of money. It's almost a guarantee that they will not be. Matter of fact, in most cases, they'll be worse off than they were before. Your money, your income will never, ever, 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 ever exceed your personal development level over an extended period of time. What do I mean by that? Is it possible to get to a point of making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month and not have grown? Absolutely. What do I mean by that? You could have the right person maybe your upline built one leg for you, and you know what? Through just working hard, you work real hard, you found one other person, put them on your other leg, and now you're making all of this money. But what's going to happen is this. Invariably, you're going to find a way to do what I call self-sabotage. You're going to find a way to make sure that the person that's creating all the income for you, you're going to find a way to make sure you do enough of the things wrong to either kill their business or make them leave your business so that your income goes right back to where your self-image is. You say, well, I'm not going to do that. No, you're not going to try to do it. It's subconscious. It's what happens. It's what we call survival. Remember, when you've got a $50,000 a year mindset and you've never changed it and your income goes to $100,000 a year, do you know that your mind is doing everything in its power to get back to $50,000 a year? Your consciousness is saying, I enjoy this $100,000 a year. Your mind, your internal mind is saying, listen, get me out of here. I've got to pay higher taxes. I've got bigger challenges. I got bigger problems. $50,000 is where I've got to be. That's where I've been programmed to be. I'm going to screw up any opportunity. I'm going to be late for opportunities. I won't follow up. I won't call the people back. I'll be a jerk to the good people in my group. I'll be nice to the non-producers in my group. And you will make sure that you go right back to where your self-image deserves, because that's what you've trained it to be. And it's no different with people who are not successful because they're not developing personally. You've got to make sure that you're developing. Read, listen, apply. Read, listen, apply. Condition yourself for a higher income by developing your mindset. If you're making $50,000 a year, but you develop your mindset to a person who deserves $100,000, whereas you get so uncomfortable mentally because you're at $50,000, do you know that your mind will do everything in its power to make sure it puts you in front of the right people? It'll make sure it puts you at the right opportunities. It'll make sure you wake up in time. It'll make sure that you put on the right clothes. It'll make sure that you say the right things to attract the right people so that the $100,000 a year can actually be acquired. It works in both ways, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you that. That's why I tell the people I work harder on me than I do on my business. I don't have to work Organo Gold real hard. I don't have to get out there and break my neck like I used to. I did that because I thought that the harder I work, the more money I'll make. No, the harder I work on me of applying, changing, improving, the easier it is for me to attract who it is that I want in my business. Doesn't mean I don't work. I work hard, but I work extremely smart. I'm giving you these elements because this is going to be required. It's going to be required. You're probably sitting there saying, well, I've read a lot of books, but you didn't apply. You didn't apply. And if you applied it and it didn't work, you go back and say, what did I miss? Reapply it. Reapply it again and 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 again until you get it right. Do you think Thomas Edison sat right there developing the light bulb, and after 5 tries he gave up? No. Over and 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 over again. And because he went over and over and was willing to go a distance, you know what people call him? They say he's a genius. He's a genius. No. Genius is defined no more as a person who stood the course longer than anybody else would until they got the result that they wanted, and they call him a genius. Oh, Holter, you're an MLM genius. No, I'm not. I just stayed around in this business long enough until I got it right, until I improved over and 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 over again. And what happens is this: because the results come in, people look at it and say, "Oh man, you make this look easy." But it was difficult for those 7 years, not making more than $500 in a month. People don't look at that part. Didn't start off at the top, started at the bottom, and stayed disciplined. Read, listen, did. Read, listen, did. Step number 4. Okay? Discipline number 4. People who are disciplined, who are successful, have the core discipline of showing the plan consistently. Showing the plan consistently. Okay? As you show the plan consistently, that means every single week, not every other week, not show it when I feel like it. Every week. I show the plan every single week without fail. Okay? I don't know of a person who's become long-term successful. Remember, when I'm speaking of levels or achievement, I'm not talking, well, I did it 1 month or I did it 1 year. I'm talking over a course of time. Remember, this business has the ability to take care of your family for the rest of their generations. Okay? For 2, 3, 4 generations. So I'm not speaking of 1 year of success. Forget about that. I'm talking long term. I'm giving you principles that you can develop, core principles in OrganoGold that you can use to build yourself a long-term business. Showing the plan. Okay? Showing the plan. Show me a person who's a multiple 7-figure earner that says, well, you know what, I made $1 million, but I can show you weeks that I didn't show the plan. I don't know if that person exists. Show me the person who's in the hunt going diamond, in the hunt, and got it done. It says, well, you know what, there was 2 weeks that I went without showing the plan. It doesn't work that way, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to understand this. Every day that you show the plan is no different than opening the doors to your store. If you own the retail store, how many days a week would you keep them closed? When your store's closed, no revenue can take place. That's the way I felt. When I'm not sitting in front of somebody talking about their OrganoGold business, drawing out the business plan, I have just closed the doors of my store, or I failed to open them. And when I fail to open the doors to my store, I know what's going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. What I want you to do, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what level, 10 level you are right now, I want you to go back and look at your calendar since January has started. This is what I want you to do. I want to go ahead and make it real for you. What I want you to do is this. Those of you who are listening in on the call, if you're one of those people who what I call at a level 3 or level 4, you know what, I've covered this training before. Level 3 means I want to build a nice income. I want to like to replace my income here. Level 4, I just want to get rich. Now, if you're level 1 or level 2, you don't even need to be on this call. It's great that you're on here, but you don't need to go to events. I'm only speaking to level 3 and level 4 when I say this here. If you're level 3 or level 4, I want to build me a business. I want to be a leader. I want to build me a team. I want residual income, or I want to get rich. This is what I want you to do. I want you to look at your calendar right now, okay? I want you to look at your calendar, and I want you to look right now. It's March, and you've got another 9 months before this year closes out. And I want you to make sure that you give yourself the instructions. If you have to send it by email, by text, have your assistant, secretary remind you, put it in your calendar, whatever you got to do, be accountable to this and say, any week that I miss showing the plan, I need to make sure that I add another year. I need to add another year to my retirement date. Add another year to my retirement date. That means if you miss showing the plan next week, don't think about retiring this year. It's going to be next year because you've already missed any week that you miss. Okay? Condition yourself like that. Remember I said successful people create the conditions in their mind in order to succeed. These are the type of things I'm talking about right here. It's not that they go out and fix stuff. No, they program themselves to make sure that their mind puts them in the right working mode. These are the types of things I did to myself. Why? Because it motivated me to know, hold on for a second. I set the rules, and I trust me. I'm going to be accountable to me. And if I miss showing the plan for this week, my wife is going to have to work another 6 months or another week. Well, guess what? I never missed a week showing the plan because I was motivated. I knew what that meant. Whatever you got to create in order to motivate and move you, then that's what you do. But I want you to understand, successful people, they go out and they show this plan. They have a thirst. They have an appetite. They've got to go out and show the plan. I want you to remember it. Go read the story of James Folgers. And when you see the passion and the enthusiasm in which he shared his coffee that he was developing with people, do you think he missed days and took weeks off? No, he never took days off, ever. That's why still to this day, people drink the Folgers brand. You've got the power to have a Folgers result called Organo Gold in your family. You have the ability to do that. Let me share something with you. Those of you who are working full time right now, every week you're at work. And every week that you don't miss keeps the boss's wife retired. That's why the owner of your company has freedom, and those of us who have to work don't have that freedom. I know sometimes this is hard for us to realize, and you may say, oh, Holtz's talking down on, no, I'm not talking down on people who have jobs. I'm just giving you the real truth about it. Okay? Because society will make you think that it's okay for you to do what, no, it's not okay. Not when you're saying that you want this freedom. Not when you're saying that I want to be free. I want generational wealth. Well, every week you make sure that you go to work. You don't take weeks off. You go and show their plan. You say, well, I'm not in sales. Yes, you are. You're selling your services. You're selling 8 hours worth of services for a paycheck. It doesn't matter what you do. Okay? Doesn't make what you're doing bad or less important, but you are selling. You sell every time you get a paycheck. Here, you can sell Organo Gold. Go open up your Organo Gold store every single week. Every single week. That doesn't mean do it once a week. I'm just telling you that you've got to develop a discipline of doing this. Don't take any weeks off at all. Just don't do it. The other thing is, because I know I've got to be winding up here, okay? Discipline number 5. I don't know which number I'm on, but the next one. Okay? Number 5. Sell the product. STP, STP. STP, show the plan. STP, sell the product. Sell the product. I can tell you the disciplines of people who have long-term business, they develop a retail organization as well. They not only do one thing, they can walk and chew bubblegum as well. What do I mean by that? As you're building, one of the things that we talk about is developing 10 serviceable customers. 10 serviceable customers. I'm going to break all of this down and explain it. I'm going to tell you when I'm going to do this. Right now, I'm giving you only highlights. I'm giving you only highlights right now, but I'm going to break this down, and I'm going to give you the long version of really how to make this thing work. I'm going to make Organo Gold seem so simple to you guys. I'm going to make it seem so duplicatable, it will be a shame. You're going to look at yourself and say, it will be a shame if I don't develop a 6-figure residual income in this company here. 10 serviceable customers. I'm going to break that down and show you how simple it is. Everybody, just imagine if you went out and got 10 customers. It's the easiest thing in the world to do today. Getting 10 customers is easier than sponsoring one gold pack. Okay? But I want you to understand long term, we're building a solid, rock solid foundation. Get you 10 customers. Get 10 people, change the brand of coffee for 10 people in your neighborhood, in your family, in your church, in your any organization, whatever it is, find 10 people that you change the brand of coffee that they're drinking. Okay? That you change the brand of coffee that they're drinking. And that you service them every single month. I'm going to break all all of this down for you guys. It's going to be so simple. But these 7 core steps I can take, it will take me really, I can take 16 to 20 hours of training, and I can elaborate on just these 7 core principles, because this is what I've done. This is what I focus on. This is what I made sure that I got good at. See, when I wasn't making money, I could go back and I had one missing component to my car. Didn't know which one it was, but I had a component that was missing. It was one of these 7 here. And sometimes I wasn't showing the plan, and it was sometimes that I was showing the plan, but I didn't have any product. And it was sometimes that I was showing the plan and I was selling the product as well, but it wasn't accountable. I tell my sponsor I'm going to be here, I'm going to have 15 people there, and I show up with 2. I was missing something. I was missing one. Okay? I've always been a reader. I've always been a listener. I've never been weak in those areas, but remember, you're not going to be great at everything. Some of you may be weak at listening, weak at reading, but great at other things. But you got to get all of them rolling at the same time. It's called momentum. That's why everybody doesn't go diamond. We got 1 million people in Organo Gold and only about 400, almost 400 people that's ever gone diamond. Why? Because you've got to get those 7 core principles working. Everybody can do it. It's easier to do this than it is to get all of the colors on a Rubik's Cube. See, I can only barely get one color on the Rubik's Cube. I'm not that smart. Okay? And I know some of our younger people are like, what's a Rubik's Cube, right? Getting all the colors on a Rubik's Cube to me was fascinating. I watched people do it. They can either do it with their feet. I couldn't do that, but I knew I can do these 7 core principles. I knew I can do that. Okay? I knew I can do it. Get you 10 customers. Be proud to know you've got 10 customers. Become a star achiever because you got customers, not because you got a credit card. Okay? Number 6, counsel. Counsel. They counsel often. I can tell you this, in the very beginning of a distributorship, in the very beginning when you're starting to have success, counseling becomes important normally. Typically what happens is when I get success, I can do it on my own. You know what, I don't need to talk to him because I'm going to be bugging him or I'm going to be bugging her. You don't do it that way. Here I am with the #1 earner in the company, invested 6 hours with him today, Jose Ardon. And guess what he's doing for 6 hours? He's in counsel. He's counseling. What should I do? What advice would you give me? How should I do this? Nobody has earned more money as a distributor than Jose Ardon, but he counsels consistently. There's nothing that I know of that he's done on his own without counseling. You say, well, doesn't he have a mind of his own? Yes. That's why he's successful, because he takes the mind that he has of his own understanding. He should be in counsel. It's not he or she who thinks who has it enough that they can go out and do it on their own, become successful. It's he or she who understands that the blessings come from being in agreement. It's about being in agreement. When I counsel with people, I don't give all the answers. It's just that there's something the universe blesses, ideas that come in agreement. That's the, ladies and gentlemen, you stay in counsel with your upline. Stay in counsel with your upline. Well, my upline is not, they're not a black diamond. So what? I wasn't always a black diamond. Shane wasn't always a black diamond. Jose wasn't always a black diamond. John wasn't always a black diamond. So what? They're not a black diamond. Okay? Yvonne Tapia wasn't always a black diamond. Okay? Sometimes they're not going to be a black diamond. David wasn't always a black diamond. But counsel. There's one thing I probably forgot to mention, ladies and gentlemen. Counsel. Did I mention counsel? Did I mention that you should counsel? How often should you counsel? Weekly. And that's W-E-E-K-L-Y, not W-E-A-K-L-Y. Some of you, the reason why your business is where it is because you counsel weekly. W-E-A-K-L-Y. You got to counsel. Counsel doesn't mean that you're insufficient. It doesn't mean that you're not knowledgeable. It doesn't mean that you're not a business owner, that you're not responsible. Counsel simply means that you're smart. Counsel simply means that you understand the power of agreement. There's power in agreement. Extreme power in agreement. Counsel. Well, I don't like my upline. Well, who said anything about liking? Who says anything? Let me ask you a question. You may not like your banker, but does that give them the right to take your money? No. It has nothing to do with like. We're talking principles. You're using emotion to justify why you should violate a principle. Well, I don't like him. I don't like her. So what? They may not like you either. But it's principles. You may not like your boss, but you go to work every day. Okay? Well, I don't like my boss, so I'm not going to go to work. Try that for a week. No, try it for 2 days. Try it for 2 days. Some of you try it for an hour. You'll realize how you'll be full-time in Organo Gold. It has nothing to do with like. That's one of the things that I love the fact that our business, that there's no qualifications, no history that's required in order to get involved. But you know what, man, I tell you, sometimes I look at it and say, man, I wish people would have to go through certain skills of business in order to get involved. We take them to diamond so quick, because some of us get involved and we try to use our emotions to justify our violation of principles. Emotion and principles have nothing to do with each other. Principles work regardless of how you feel. Has nothing to do with it. The law of gravity, which is it's a law, principle based. The law of gravity, it does not matter whether if you're afraid of heights or if you do not have the fear of falling. It has no respect for your fear of falling or your lack of fear of falling, and you get on top of a 10-story building and you walk off. The law of gravity does not say, well, this person's not afraid of falling, so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that they're suspended in midair and not allow them to come down. The law of gravity is going to say whether you are afraid of falling or not, you're going to come down. You should your commitment to these 7 core principles should be just as strong about performing these and getting good and excellent and making sure that all 7 are working at the same time as the law of gravity. Because the law of gravity doesn't change for Holton Buggs. It doesn't change for Bernie Chua. It doesn't change for Shane Moran. The law of gravity says stop, because I'm going to perform what I'm what I'm designed to do, and that is to perform. Same with these principles here. Council number 6. Number 7, ladies and gentlemen, is attend all with a capital A, capital L, capital L, bold, italics, underlined, circle, hyphenated, whatever you want to call it. Attend all events. All events. Remember, we're talking the 7 core principles, not 7 core emotions. Forget the emotions. We'll talk about that at a different time. The different emotions that will cause you to perform with these principles or cause you to violate these principles. We're going to talk about that at a different time. That's another training that I'll give. Attend all events. All events. I can tell you people that are succeeding, people who are breaking pens, not only who have broken and gotten a pen, but you also want to say, well, what's the next level? Is my status is just that I'm going to make it to the top, or my status is that I will continue growing and continue breaking new pens? You want to break new pens. You don't want to be static, stopping. They attend all events. All events. Well, if the event is close enough, then Martha and I will go. Well, you're not going to inspire a lot of people. Well, if ticket prices are low enough, then I think Jimbo and I will try to be there. Okay. You're not going diamond. You're not going to have a long-term residual income. You're going to have a very small business. Okay. Attend all events, ladies and gentlemen, all. Okay? Now, what do I mean by all? Attend the next event in your area and make sure that you're promoting for the big events. Events, there's magic that takes place at the event that I cannot explain to you. Well, I've seen it before. We're going to open up, and Holton's going to be there, and Shane's going to be there, and they're going to do I've seen that, and we're going to have diamond knighting, and we're going to have this. I've seen it before. Remember, I gave you the first training? Successful people get good at things that are boring. it worked to take our company to $1 billion, but now you want to change. Oh yeah, we need to change it. We need to bring different entertainment. We gotta have guys. Tell me who's done what we've done faster than what we've done it. Okay. Why is it that every company that I know of are looking to hire the people that put on our events? Probably because they figured out, man, this company knows what they're doing. But it's the people who look at our events as the black Yamaha piano and say, well, I'll skip this one. I've seen that piano a few times. That piano, yeah, it's all dusty. It's going to say the same thing. Attend all events, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Gold Diamond Weekend. Okay? Gold Diamond.
There we go, guys. Like I said, I think people who are committing to this call, committing to the trains, committing to the action now, we're really starting to see just who wants it. And like you said today, who is in the hunt to make this happen. We say it time and time again that the numbers are in his favours. It's just a time now to take action on these things. Like you said, read, listen, go out and apply it, and keep doing that again and again and again. The big event that we're promoting for now is Leon, weekend 17th, 18th and 19th of April. All I can say is just get yourself there by any means. Get yourself there by any means. Let's get behind the call tomorrow, 8 p.m. Steve Martin, Black Diamond, $1 million earner. So big event tomorrow. If you're new on the call and you've stayed on the call this long, well done. I mean, it's an hour and 15 minutes and you've been taught by the best there, the top earner in the industry. So like I said, promote for tomorrow. It's a great platform to get guests onto. And we'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Have a great Sunday.